Hello everybody, welcome back to Richie's Food and Nature. We have the legend Ian Bailey with me today. We're going to be asking him a few questions. So Ian, if there's anything you'd like to say before we start?
What kind of start to?
Tomegama. It's all I know now, so don't ask me anymore.
Buenos Ladia.
Buenos Ladia, I know that one.
Yeah.
But
anyway, no, it's good. Anyway, so we're in the rugged glen, just before Christmas, just coming up to Christmas, and it's the only time of the year that I can legally. You can't take these out any other month other than December. Otherwise, you'd be knowing people, and if it was me, I'd be arrested for getting me a little red ringer out.
Oh yeah.
So anyway, we're just sort of, and as everybody knows, Christmas is coming. This is our second COVID Christmas, isn't it?
It is, unfortunately it is. It's after destroying us in a lot of ways.
Well, what it's done is, it took away from us all of the things that we used to take for granted. I remember sitting outside Bud's Cafe, lovely cafe in Balladahog, on the Ides of March last year, the 15th of March, Sunday, the 15th of March.
Yeah.
That's when Shakespeare wrote about the Ides of March, and when Caesar was knifed by 12 senators who all stabbed him with their knives and forks. And I'm thinking, Jesus, we knew lockdown was going to come, but we didn't. Nobody really could have expected. No, and we lost. What did we lose? We lost all the things we took for granted. We lost singing, games, rugby,
freedom,
freedom to road. We had, we were under technically a 2 mile, was it? 2 mile fucking.
2 kilometre.
A lot of people in the rebel county, and it's, it is the rebel county, and it's great that it is the rebel county. Basically were careful, but they did go a little bit more.
I did.
Yeah,
I did. Like, my dog needs to be walked in nice places, So
we lost everything we took for granted. We became verboten.
We did. And you need passes now to do everything.
Yeah. You've got them either on the phone or the thing. I guess like we're a reasonable social distance.
We are.
Well, technically breaking the rules because that ain't 2 meters.
No, well look.
But 2 meters ain't 6 foot.
No. But look, we're all right anyway.
Yeah.
Oh, Ian, I do have some questions for you.
Yeah.
I have them written down because I have a head like a sieve. I hope you don't mind.
No, not at all.
But we might as well just jump straight in. I'll have a sup of my pint with you.
Yeah.
We'll have an old charge as well.
Don't you?
Aren't you?
Yeah, and here's to the end of the crisis.
Yeah, please God. Anyway, please God. Right, we get started.
So I'll just point out something.
Always. Now, Netflix is very popular with young people. How do you feel when the younger generation click on a video and automatically think you're guilty?
Well, I don't know that they do that. I know about the Netflix thing, and I didn't watch it myself.
I did.
There were 2 documentaries that came out this year. One was a spoiler documentary, the Netflix one, in effect to a Jim Sheridan project, which I've been cooperating with for nearly 5 years. And Netflix actually are very, very disingenuous, and there were scenes that were in there that were, I've seen, and I haven't seen the whole things, but I've seen certain scenes that have been drawn to my attention, which are absolutely false, and they make a false claim that they suggest that somehow I am the murderer, which I'm not.
And would there be any repercussions?
We don't know. We're waiting to see. It's a difficult thing with the law. I'm a lawyer, I've got 3 degrees of law from UCC, because they're dear.
Yeah, and you know more than most.
It's and if you're going to sue Netflix, you've got to sue them in the States. You've got to have attorneys and a team, and it's very, very expensive. But I have people looking at it,
right?
And there may be the possibility of coming down now. But
so the younger generation doesn't really bother you?
Well, the younger generation actually I've had an awful lot of support from, and they were actually introduced to it. When let's define generation, okay? The generation's like 25 years, and those that were under sort of 30. Who weren't even born, a lot of them weren't even born with this is 25 years now.
Yeah, it's a long time, long time.
Torture and misinformation and lies and dirty, rotten, stinking lies repeated.
Yeah.
We weren't even born. And what I did notice is, because I cooperated with 2 young people called Sam Bungie and Jennifer Ford. And in fair play, I'm a bit open with people. And people say I don't have any filters, whatever that means. No. I trust people and I take people at face value.
Yeah, filter means you says how it is. If you know a filter, it means you say how it is.
You bet I've got, in that case.
You don't mince your words.
I've definitely got no filters.
Good, that's what I like here.
And I call it spade or a shovel.
Yeah, that's what mincing.
So I trusted them, and the trust wasn't broken. And then they made this podcast thing that became one of the most downloaded podcasts of all time. And a lot of young people then listened to that. And then I started to get this immense support from the younger generation.
Well, the reason why I said that is because I saw the Netflix documentary, and anybody watching that without an open mind and without real information on what happened is going to think you're guilty. That's how bad
it was slanted. I mean, I knew it was going to be slanted, and I knew it was going to be. I knew it was going to be. A piece of biased, self-serving propaganda.
Okay. Well, that kind of leads into my second question. How do you feel about the latest TV documentaries and interviews that you did, and how they have portrayed them, including the interview you did with, was it Miriam O'Callaghan?
Oh, no, it wasn't Miriam O'Callaghan. I think you're talking about
Claiborne.
No, Fitzpatrick. Oh, TV3.
Yes.
No, it was fine. I mean, she's got a job to do, and
yes,
she obviously sort of had decided on a certain tack.
I see.
But you see, because I've learned how to stay calm in the eye of the hurricane. Remember we had a big storm last week?
Yes.
And everybody was
it wasn't as big as they were making out.
Do you know what it was? It was a storm in a sea cup.
It was a teacup. Teacup. I didn't get it there for a second. Oh, he's more witty than I thought. But
anyway, so sticking on the point, I don't know. I mean, I just do the shit.
Yeah.
I just do it. I respond to it.
But how they portrayed you wouldn't have been, well, the Netflix one, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, look, one I've learned a long time ago that I couldn't give a tinker's cuss about what people want to think of me.
Right.
And I was always like that anyway.
Yeah, that's a good way to be. Yeah.
And I've always been like a lone wolf in a way. And I've always been a bit of I suppose I have been an outsider. But
there's nothing wrong with that either.
No, and it's actually quite good, from like an observational point of view, and it reflects my journalism and my poetry. I was always self-employed. I was always freelance. I classed myself as being self-unemployable, but I was self-employed.
Right.
But I wouldn't be able to toe the line.
Yeah.
And if anybody ever tells me I've got to do something, I've got this thing inside me. Well, if they tell me the only way they can get me to do what they don't want me to do is to tell me not. Reverse order. Otherwise, I'll do what I've got to do.
Headstrong.
And I'm not like a shoot from the hip.
They tell you can't do it, it makes you want to do it more.
I'm in a John Wayne state of mind.
Yeah.
Which is one of the title of John Wayne state of mind is just to use the opportunity. It's my collection of poems, which is available on Audible as an Audible book or from me.
Get the man's poems.
On Amazon. And that's my first collection, The Westport Way. And that's me with a younger man with hair. I had hair then. Yeah. So hair. You don't think about hair. It's hair today and gone tomorrow. And on that question, this is a question for you. Some of your viewers might develop it. There's a collective name for different things. Like we'd have a head of hair, say.
Yes.
But then a herd of cattle.
Yes.
A pack of dogs. What do you call a line of Irish hares walking backwards down a boreen? A line of Irish hares walking backwards.
A confusion of hairs.
A receding hairline. That's
very good. No, some of the questions are going to be light-hearted as well. They're not all going to be serious.
Yeah.
But besides the fact that you can't go, would you like to go to France on a holiday?
No, actually, funnily enough, when I was a young man, like when I say young, as a teenager, late teenager, and early 20s, I used to go. I would do these things, grand tours, they used to call them. In the back, we'd take a Cortina over and tried to do as many on the ferry down through France, a night or two in Paris.
Sounds like a good crack.
A night in Père Lachaise, dancing on tables, this, that, and the other, to Luz-de-Trek, and and then down to down to the south, and Juan-la-Pin, and
places down there.
I remember Saint-Tropez, where and I remember, like, I was a young lad growing up in Gloucester, and the English probably still are pretty sexually repressed. I don't know, but so you go from this sort of English sort of stiff upper lip proper, and you go down to the south of France, lie on the beach, and there's this beautiful, the guys have got little things hanging there, but the ladies are there, and you've never seen this before.
Different world.
And you're 17. Yeah. Your hormones are pumping.
You're in a happy place.
Yeah. And so I had some adventures that were there. Yeah. When I was younger. So.
The accent isn't bad either.
The accent. Oh, I know. Yeah.
Not bad either.
Anyway, so the reason you're here, I guess, is talking to me is that 25 years ago there was a terrible crime.
A terrible crime, yeah.
And the anniversary is just coming up.
Yeah, Garber.
Yeah, I know. And I was the lead reporter on the story from pretty well day one.
Yeah. We're going to get to some of this in the questions anyway.
Okay.
So we won't go too far.
All right, we won't go too far.
We won't go too far.
Over to you, back to you.
Right. Do you think this will ever blow over?
Whew,
and you'll be able to get on with your life?
It would take somebody to admit that I have nothing to do with it, and somebody to be honest enough to come out and just say, we don't know who did it, but it wasn't that bollocks Bailey.
Yes.
And I use that
and
expression.
There is some things going on at the moment, isn't there?
I wrote to Drew Harris, the new Commissioner of Garda Síochána.
Oh, you did. You actually. What kind of a killer would actually go for another investigation?
Yeah, well, that's a good point. We'll just wait till that.
We'll stop there now for a minute.
Is that Massey Ferguson or a John Deere? Oh dear, it's a John Deere.
Sound isn't our greatest friend down here anyway.
No, but do you know what it is? They call it in the business, they call it Atmos.
Atmosphere.
Atmos. Anyway, so where were we? So I wrote to Drew Harris asking him, I mean, earlier this year, I thought, I'm the only person in the world who's been arrested twice in a national state for a crime they didn't commit, released, not charged, and then subjected to 3 separate European arrest warrants. And I mean, nobody.
That was a bit of a kangaroo court, though. You didn't even have a defence team in France.
No, well, I wasn't represented because people said, see, people said, Ian, why didn't you? If you're innocent, why didn't you go? Well, I took advice on the matter, and I was actually potentially,
lucky you didn't.
Possibly prepared to go, but I was advised not to go.
And rightly so.
But the other thing is, because I studied law and I studied French law, and French law is quite different from Irish and British law.
Hearsay can be used as a
Jesus Christ. Hearsay and statements that have long been withdrawn and
they can use them again.
Which is incredible. And it's to do with the 1807 Bonaparte Code of Law. Napoleon Bonaparte, everybody's heard of him. He introduced a law to allow the French to go after anybody anywhere in the world.
Crazy.
And the reason it was introduced into law is that it allowed Bonaparte to go after anybody he didn't like.
Oh, right, okay.
You know, and anyway, the thing is this, I was asked earlier on by media they said, they're asking you to go over, to voluntarily go over, do you have a comment to make? And I said, hang on a second, what do you mean? I said, yeah, I do actually. As far as I'm concerned, they can poke my home. I didn't say fecking home.
Yeah, but
it's quite polite. Poke my home.
It is a polite way of saying it.
I know a little bit about history, and I know that at the field of Agincourt back in the day, the French were put to the sword by English yeomans with bows and arrows, and 10,000 yeomans from England defeated 100,000 French on the fields. And they never got over than that, and they never got over. And also, you might remember talking about Napoleon Bonaparte again, how Lord Horatio Nelson and Lord Wellington, who was Wellesley, an Irishman, how they defeated the Fecker at the fields of Waterloo.
Yeah.
And they should get over that as well. And it just seems to me that the French have got some real problem
with the British.
Yeah, I think so. And
there's always a bit of a tension between the two nations.
And I mean, well, the funny thing is, when you look at the history, and you know this as well as I do, that people get to. They also say, the Sassanat invaded Ireland. Yeah. Fucking Sassanat. It wasn't the Sassanat. It was the Normans who'd invaded Britain in 1066 and introduced the common law. And then, after a century or so of settling Britain,
they then moved
to Ireland by invitation.
Yeah.
The best castle builders history has ever known.
Yeah.
And they built castles all the way up. And just on that point, just quickly, so they built castles from Waterford. They went up county by county, built castles every 30, 40 yards, miles, or whatever. They got up to Tipperary, and the natives in Tipperary at the time were called the O'Sullivans. We're talking about 13th century, 13th, 14th century. And they fought the O'Sullivans off out of Tipperary, the Premier County, and guess where they came to settle? On the 2 rings of the rings of Bearer and the rings of Kerry.
Down around this country,
and every third or fourth person down here, you can almost guess they'll be called O'Sullivan. Or Harrington, or McCarthy.
And a lot of them will be named John as well, I'm presuming.
Yeah.
Right, we get on with our next question anyway. In all of this, who would you say is the one person that betrayed Ian Bailey the most?
Oh, well, I think there's probably one or two people who are doing that. There's a guy.
Well, it's two.
Right. Okay. Well, I'll be careful.
Yeah. Well,
I trusted people, as I said earlier on.
Yeah.
I don't have any filters. I trusted a guy I met. So when I took on the state, Jules' support, and myself and my solicitors.
We actually fitted Jules' pump before.
We took on the state, the might of the Irish state, and very few people have done this.
A lot of corruption involved. Yeah.
And I didn't, we had to hope that we might win. We had a chance of winning, as it was, we didn't.
Yeah.
But that didn't matter. It was a battle that had to be fought. And at the beginning of that battle, a number of people introduced themselves to me in the first week of November 2014, up in the forecourts. One of them was Jim Sheridan.
Yeah.
Another one was Sam and Jennifer,
Yeah.
the podcasters.
Yeah.
And another gentleman, and I trusted him, and his name was Nick Foster. He said he was a journalist, although he wasn't a journalist in the sense that I am. He was a property journalist, and he said he had an idea, he was going to cover the thing and write a book. And he thought that led me to believe that he felt sympathetic to me that I'd been, set up.
Okay.
And I cooperated with the little gentleman.
He backstabbed you.
And so I'm very much betrayed by him. And he's still doing it now. He's twittering every day. And
not nice.
So, and then I've had great support. I mean, in fairness, so earlier this year, I didn't know. The documentaries are coming out. Jules decided that our journey, we've been together for 30 years through thick and thin. 25 years of it, 24 years of it being marred by this.
Yeah, it's an awful thing, yeah.
And I felt, I'm very, very sympathetic towards her, and still have strong, I saw her the other day, I still have sort of feelings, emotional feelings. Anyway, and so this year has just been one, and I didn't know how the heck I was, at certain times this year. Do you know what it was like? It was like being tied to the back of a wild bull.
That kind of leads into my next question.
And I was tied to it, so I couldn't get off it, and it was like,
That leads into my next question. We know mental health is very important, more than ever with all the COVID and everything.
Yeah.
How has this affected your mental health through the years?
Well, I think in the early days, it definitely sort of had negative effects, but then what happened? Rilke said it. If it doesn't kill you, it makes you stronger.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I think that you go so far down. I hit rock bottom. And then I sort of started to come back up. I went to AA. I gave up drinking. You can see how this is, evaporating. It's evaporating more rapidly than I'm actually drinking it. And then I sort of came back up, and I developed. And then I started to study. The Serenity Prayer. That's great. And I recommend that to everybody. What does that say? God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And I learned that. And there's all this shit going on out here, and this guy being said there. Could I do anything about it? No. So I by reiteration of that prayer, I eventually managed to be able to so it became a coping mechanism, tool.
Yeah.
And then I kept very busy, either wood carving, writing, or digging. Yeah. And I wrote a couple of poems in the John Wayne collection about mental health and about how I cope with it, and how I found digging for victory. I remember really dark periods where I was like, oh my God.
I can imagine,
So I'd go out on a cold winter's day, take the shovel, put my long trench coat
tear into
on,
a bit of work.
and dig. And within about 20 minutes, half an hour,
releasing a bit of energy, built up energy.
Yeah.
Everybody needs to do that every
and now because I've been through this, I'm actually get help. I can help people.
Okay, that's
I'm not qualified, but I can actually assist them.
Okay. Right, we'll move on anyway to the next question. I suppose you answered this already, but how do you feel about the French justice system and them finding you guilty without a defence team present?
Oh, well, look, I mean, if they think that that's their system of justice is anything related to justice.
Yeah, kangaroo court.
Yeah, I mean, look, and it's well established because I was up at UCC, 5 wonderful years of studying up there, doing 3 degrees, a master's degree on police accountability in Ireland and things. I did a sidebar in French law, and it was quite clear that in French law, if you were accused, you were guilty. And the rationale behind that is this: that if it's like me saying to you, I know that you are guilty, and you say, no, I'm not. No, hey, no. But the rationale is simple and straightforward. It's this: that if you weren't guilty, we wouldn't be accusing you.
Yeah.
So it's like the boot's on the other foot.
Yeah, that's frustrating.
And they do say that you've got the benefit of, like, what do they call it? There's a phrase for it. The doubt.
Okay.
But actually, under French Bonaparte code, you don't.
Okay.
If you're accused, you are guilty,
You're guilty.
and that's it.
Yeah.
And this happened with Dreyfus, the
Yeah.
Dreyfus case. Some of your people might remember that. You know.
I don't.
No, well,
No.
They should.
Okay.
They should. Yeah.
We'll move on.
We will.
Would you mind describing who Ian Bailey is and your philosophy on life?
Well, that's
It's a
Do you want to
pretty
put-
barreled question.
do you want me to write
in as few words as you
Do you want me to
can?
write you 1,000 word? I don't know. All you see, all people know is themselves. We think we might know other people, but we don't really know other people. We know a bit about ourselves. We're here for a very short time.
Yeah.
We come where we come from. We're not quite sure where we
Yeah.
go to. We don't know.
Don't know.
And basically, I think everybody should be able to help other people.
Yes.
Because of what I've been through now. My range of experiences has. I mean, technically, I'm homeless at the moment. I mean, I'm living in a little place near Bantry,
Yeah.
and it's fine. But I have to, so I'm quite. I mean, I'm lucky in my adversity.
You just try and be the best person you can.
Yeah, you can. And
Yeah.
I mean, so I don't know. Back to your question. On the crack, of course. I
You
mean,
have to.
I
What did you say to me on the phone that day? You said you had a master's degree in having the crack.
yeah. Well, I mean, technically, I'm actually British. Although some people might say English, but I reframe myself as Anglo-Welsh Hibernian.
Okay.
The dragon, you see,
Yeah.
that's the Welsh bit on my mother's line. Hello, sir.
We have
How are you?
a very
But yeah, so the crack. So the thing about the crack is this: that the English don't really get it at all.
Yeah,
the
sometimes.
Irish have got it in their blood.
it's our second language.
And the thing is, what is it then? So what it is you must never go looking for it.
Light-hearted man.
You must never go looking for it or expect it.
Yeah, it just comes.
But in any given moment with anybody,
You have
the
to be up for it.
possibility
It's
is
going to
there.
happen. It's going to happen.
And if you don't make it happen or seize that
Awkward.
opportunity, somehow you're missing the point. So
definitely.
it's like that Latin expression, carpe diem.
Yes.
You know, seize the day,
Seize the day. Yeah.
seize the crack, carpe crack.
Now, you seem to have a larger-than-life personality, and you take things in your stride. Do you think a more fragile mind would have succumbed to the pressures you've endured over the
Yeah,
years?
I'm actually surprised that I managed to,
Yeah.
to do it myself.
Yeah.
And quite honestly, there have been occasions I didn't know how
Yeah.
I was going to deal
I
with
can
it.
imagine.
And I was actually worried, how much can I stand? Will I be able to get through this? And again, because of the deal, my faith has grown throughout this. My faith got a bit wobbly. You know, people say keep the faith.
Yeah.
And
It's hard to do at times, I can
and my
imagine.
faith has actually grown.
Well, that's good. That's good.
So-
you've come across a lot of life lessons, so.
Yeah, I have, and therefore I can help other people. And I noticed there the other week I was like Facebook now, and I was a social media virgin.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, I deflowered myself. I got deflowered.
You're everywhere now.
Twitter, Facebook,
Yeah.
and Instagram.
Yeah.
But I
That
get
passes
these.
the days, I'd say.
I've learned to regiment it, and I turn the phone off, and I'm not letting the phone control me.
Okay.
I'm
That's
sort
good,
I
yeah.
have that discipline.
That's good. You can't be buried in your phone
No,
all
and
day. I'm the same.
I turn it off, walk away from it.
Yeah.
And like for instance, when there were times that weekend a few weeks ago we'll just wait until this Ferguson
He's back to ruin our video.
goes down, or is it a John Deere? Oh, be Deere.
Looks like a John Deere to me.
It's a John Deere.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. So
Oh,
so I actually turned the phone off for a full weekend. I go and check it every now and again. It was when
I imagine you have a lot of notifications.
it was when the Bonaparte Noor came over, or what's his name? I think he's named after a village in West Cornwall. Macron. The president of France came
All
over.
right. Okay. Yeah.
And he made some utterances about me.
Oh, really?
Personally, yeah. And my phone, I knew something was going on because the phone went once and I was being asked questions about something I hadn't heard anything to do with. And then, I rang Frank Bellomer, bless him, and I said, listen, this has happened. Apparently the guy has made some statement related to me. Can you handle the calls? Would you mind? And I'll just bat everybody, pass the ball on to you. And he said, yeah, let's do it that way. And he's great. I can't praise Frank enough, actually.
Yeah, he's a good man.
Do you know Frank likes whacking the balls?
He likes what?
Whacking the balls on the greens of Kerry. He's a good golfer.
Is he?
A lot of the legal profession are.
I'm useless.
Okay, a lot of law is actually, they say that something about the Eton, all the prime ministers of Britain tend to like, what's his name, that Boris, like an idiot.
Johnson, or...
Yeah.
He is an idiot.
And the one before, the Tory guy.
Yeah.
But over here, a lot of law is decided on the golf course.
Yeah.
So Frank loves golfing. He goes off to Kerry. And somebody asked him, we have a handicap in golf. And somebody asked him one day, said, Frank, what's your handicap? And do you know what he said?
What?
Ian Bailey.
Very good.
Bless him.
We'll move on to the next one. I'm a big believer you're innocent, mainly because my friend Seamus, he's one of the smartest fellas I know. And he is adamant you're innocent. And we can cut that bit out anyway, because we don't want him getting us well ahead. But I'm a big believer you're innocent. But why was there people saying that you bragged about it in the pub?
Oh, do you know? You see, when this began, I was the lead journalist.
Yes.
And then somebody started putting the rumour. In fact, the cops started putting the rumour around our neighbours. It's me. They decided there was never an investigation. There was just a conspiracy to put me in the paper and frame me. And I know a few of the people who were behind it. So how did I deal with that when I started to hear that? Well, unfortunately, I've got a dark sense of humour. Yeah. And I always have done, and I always will have.
Yeah.
And I started to say, oh, yeah. That sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I said to a journalist up in Dublin, I said, she told me, it's being said that look, that's the throne. Well, you can't see it.
Oh, yeah, I see it.
Maybe you'll get a...
I see it.
Yeah. And it's full glory. And it was unfortunate. I shouldn't have done it. I do regret it. It was taken the wrong way. But...
Was there a drink on board?
No, I don't think so. No.
Just you were sick of it?
Oh, no, it was just it was a coping mechanism at the time.
I hear you.
But if you read the DPP's 2001 critique, in which the DPP's officer, Robert Sheehan, goes through the entirety of the case offered against him by Garda Síochána and dismisses all of it as being flawed, prejudiced. He talks about different things. Yes. Everybody should read that, actually, to have a view on this case. Yeah. He actually talks about my alleged informal admissions. Informal admission. And he said clearly it just shows Bailey's sense of sarcasm,
maybe just being sick of being asked the question.
No, it's just my way of dealing with it.
Yeah.
I've got and is it sarcasm or is it something
humor.
like that, sarcasm?
Yeah, sure, we all have dark humour at times,
So that's my answer to that on that point, and anyway.
Now, do you think your life would be a lot different if it wasn't for all of this?
Do you know, one thing I've learned not to do, and people have asked me this, I don't do retrospective, like iffy-butties.
Okay, well that's good.
Why?
Yeah.
Because there's absolutely no fucking point.
No point.
There's the reality that I deal with, and I've dealt with it as best I can, and people have criticised me for this and that.
Yeah.
You tried dealing with what I've had to do, and Jules, bless her. You tried going through what we've been put through.
That's why I said about the people with the fragile minds. Do you think they'd be able to, go through what you went through?
No, and I mean, do you think somebody who was actually guilty, one would have been here,
for another interview,
you'd be fucking talking to me here today, and we don't have to carry on, and have used every opportunity I could to try to counter the dirty, rotten, stinking lie.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
No, I don't.
And I think probably I don't know who actually. I don't care who did it. All I really want is
it'd be nice for him to get caught. It'd be nice for him to get caught.
It'd be nice. Well, I couldn't get monkeys about that, to be honest with you, but just an acknowledgement that I have nothing to do with this terrible crime.
You've been ran through the mill.
Yeah, and for Jules as well, because she was arrested twice. And her family were put through.
Very traumatic. Very traumatic.
I mean, nobody could have imagined.
And some of the stuff that went on with the guards was a shady. A shady would be a light word to use for it. Like a gate just doesn't fall out of your back pocket. Like.
No, it doesn't, does it? And also, I mean, we did come across the Bandon tapes as a result of my case against the state. We did a thing called Discovery, and we got these tapes, and a lot of them have been lost and destroyed. But fortunately, because of the big flood in Bandon there, back in 2000, because I was driving back from UCC on a Thursday night, and fucking the water's
crazy.
over the road.
Ravaged the town, like
and a lot of them were destroyed and
my
thrown
family
away.
are from Bandon, like, you know.
But they found in Bandon Station in a box a number of them, and they were still a bit degraded. But so you've got and they fall into three categories. Like you've got detectives talking to detectives, saying, "Oh, we've got to stitch the fucking bollocks up." That English fucking black bollocks.
That's on tape.
It's on tape. And it was heard in the court. We had the transcripts.
Unbelievable.
And you've got them, you know, one or two of them are still alive, and they're there plotting to say, "Oh, we've got to break jewels. We've got to break jewels." And the language they use is they're very crude, very ignorant, and they were just determined to put me in the frame.
They wanted someone.
And once they've gone into that,
they can't go back.
They can't go back.
Yeah, I get you.
And it happened with the Birmingham 6, the Guildford 4.
Yeah.
And it's called result-oriented investigation. Yeah. I decided I don't like you. Boy, I'm going to come after you.
Yeah. And they have the power.
And then guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to find you. I'm going to fit you up. I'm going to stick something in your pocket, and then arrest you. Yeah. And you're going to, you know. And there are those. There's one or two of them still alive, walking the streets of Cork.
Unreal.
Can't say too much for legal reasons.
Oh, I know. That's totally understandable.
But the dogs on the street are.
They know, yeah. No, there's only one more question, and it's a bit of a cheeky one, and I already know the answer. Did you do it?
No.
That's it.
Ian, no. Anyway.
Thank you very much.
Good mil morgan and slán that and be an act to na féile. Solas na nólag.
See, he knows more Irish than me, like.
Seasonal greetings. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Great.
Well, that's good.
Thank you.
What we're going to do now is we're going to start. It's called Richie's Food and Nature for a reason. I'm going to be cooking Ian a lovely place, some fried potatoes, some mushy peas. So stay tuned, and we'll be back to you in a minute. Welcome back to Richie's Food and Nature. We just have our potatoes prepped now. We're going to do fried potatoes, and then we're going to be getting our place set up and seasoned and ready for the pan. So stay tuned now, and we're going to cook a lovely fish and chips for Ian Bailey. Stay tuned. Welcome back, everybody. We're just getting the place ready there now, so I just like to baste it in a bit of egg wash like that. And we have a bit of salt and pepper in there as well. So when it's all basted, then just get it on both sides. Now what I like to do then is just a bit of flour. Flour is very important, I think, anyway. It just makes it really, really flavourful. Just rub in the flour like that. Get it on both sides. These were filleted yesterday in the English market.
Was it by Pat, the Prince of the English market?
O'Connell's?
Yeah.
Yes, it was indeed.
I know.
It was indeed.
He's a good friend of mine.
Oh, is he?
They call him the Prince of the English market.
Oh, really? Oh, was it over the Queen or something?
Yeah, because he's always chosen to crown those the Windsors.
Oh, right, okay.
Whenever they come over.
Right. No, we have the place on there now, so we'll get back to you in a minute when it's done. We're back there now. We have his food ready for him. We're going to get our critique there now to see if he likes it or not. So we'll give it to him, and we'll see how he likes it.
Well, that's a nice plate of food. Looking good. Looking good.
Yeah. Enjoy it now.
Yeah. So, just need a knife and fork.
No. There you go.
Thank you very much. So I do like a little bit of vinegar, Sarson's malt vinegar.
Yeah.
Give it a plug. I actually like balsamic vinegar. Posh. They call it posh vinegar, don't they? But plaice was always my favourite fish growing up.
Yeah, it's lovely.
My mother liked hake. And
I love lemon sole, as that's the only reason I was getting it, because it's one of my favourite dishes, you know.
Well, of course, I know that this was filleted by the Prince of the English Market as well, Pat O'Connell.
It was a foreign lad that did it, actually.
Oh, right.
But it was in his shop.
Lovely.
Isn't it nice? Hey, we'll take that anyway.
Perfectly
I was actually
cooked.
worried about this all week.
No. And the potatoes look good. Nice and crispy. Like we like them. Crispy on the outside, fluffy on the inside.
That's great. So we get the thumbs up from Bailey.
Yeah.
Beautiful. We're delighted.
Potatoes are very good. What variety are they?
Roosters, they're the only kind I fry.
Yeah.
The only kind I fry.
Yeah, they're very good roosters. No, they're very good. I'm going to give this 8.5 out of 10.
Oh, delighted.
And you might say, how could it be better? Well, a wedge of lemon wouldn't have gone as straight. But listen, don't worry.
Done that, actually.
A little bit of maybe chopped parsley, you know. Listen.
Yeah. I'm only getting started, but listen.
Yeah.
You take all that on board.
No, that's very good. You've definitely got a career ahead of you, I think, isn't it?
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you very much.
So I'd just like to take this opportunity, by the way. You might notice that I'm wearing a collarless shirt, and they're cowboy shirts. I first of all like cowboy programs.
Yeah.
And they're great shirts because they don't have a collar, and if you're careful, you can wear them more than once.
Yeah.
But they're made in West Cork. They're made actually by Lee Valley, and they're sold over there at Quills. And Quills do an offer on them.
Are they online? You get them online?
I think you could. You certainly do them through the mail. But anyway, so they work out at €40 each, or 2 for 70. But the interesting thing about them is, as you can see, you can get them in different sizes. But they're bisexual shirts. Sorry, they're unisex shirts.
Unisex.
In other words, a man and a woman could wear them.
Yes.
And you can get them, and you can still get them for Christmas if you send €75 to Girls with the size you require.
And it's a beautiful.
And the colour.
It's a beautiful looking shop as well.
It's great. It's an old hotel.
Oh really?
And Podrick Quill from Ballavourney built up a chain. You know, he's got them in Killarney and Blarney and Bantry.
I've actually seen a couple of them around.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's the plug.
Well, we're delighted. Delighted.
Thank you.
Welcome back to Richie's Food and Nature. He actually went back for seconds. He enjoyed it so much.
Good. I tell you, it's very good. Very, very nice. If I'd have gone to a restaurant, I'd be quite happy to pay, I don't know, €14 or something like that.
I'll take that all day.
14, 15, yeah.
I'll take that all
very
day.
Nice, very nice potatoes, very nice fish.
That's beautiful. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
You've got the job.
And I was worried all week in case you wouldn't like it. I wasn't worried about interviewing you, anything like that. It was just whether you liked it or not. But we have Benji in his Christmas gear and all. So we want to wish everybody a happy Christmas here at Richie's Food and Nature. And thanks very much for watching. Signing out from beautiful Glengarra from West Cork.
So be an actor and Fela and Solas na Nolag. Happy Christmas, everybody.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
And thanks very much for you've been very accommodating to us. This is the Perrin Inn down in Glengarra. Absolutely lovely lady. She's been very accommodating, so we'd like to thank you for that.
Thanks so much.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
All the best.
Take care.
Bye.